If someone is born in the month of October or even mid-November, that's Vata season. So there's a very strong likelihood that they will have an impact. But does that mean they will be predominantly Vata? Not necessary. But the diet and lifestyle, so we are born a certain way, and then our Vikruti is the imbalance. It's very possible that if the child is not bundled up the way they need to be, cold gets into your bones, right? The dry skin, and if there's not enough massaging happening, and if a newborn doesn't eat salad, but whatever the equivalent of that is, like raw, non-digestible food, that will all lead to Vata imbalance. When your eyes twitch, that's a sign of Vata imbalance. So and the reason I'm sharing, if your hands get cold, that is Vata imbalance from an Ayurvedic perspective, right? If you feel nervous more than usual, Vata imbalance. Anxiety more than usual, Vata imbalance. Sleeplessness, Vata imbalance. So the point is, again, because I said Vata is light, it's mobile, it's irregular, and all of these qualities represent that lightness, right? So anxiety is thinking too much. It's not lack of thinking. It's too many thoughts, right? Not being able to focus, and then it might just pull us into an extreme direction, which is a panic attack. But sometimes anxiety is like just this extreme movement, right? Again, light, there is speed, right? When there's no circulation, cold, that is Vata. Digestive issues, which I mean constipation, again, dry. So this is how Vata works. We are in Vata season, days of the week, time of the day. So 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. They are also Vata times. So a lot of people wake up around that 2 a.m. because, again, why? Vata is light. So our sleep is lighter at that time. So I hope it's starting to make sense. While you should be seeing an Ayurvedic counselor and a coach to figure out what your dosha is, I would say stay away from those online quizzes. Find your dosha in 5 seconds. A typical way to say would be like, am I experiencing Vata imbalance? Is not just the things we talked about. Notice your skin. And I think someone mentioned cold hands. Okay, yeah, that explains. And then the skin gets unusually dry, the hair. So a person who has predominantly Vata will typically have curly hair, dry skin, little bit irregular features, like, that one really pretty tooth that's a little at a different level than the others. I know someone whose one lobe is different than the other. So Vata is irregular. So features being irregular is just synonymous with Vata, right? And then from an Ayurvedic perspective, every disease falls into a Vata disease, Kapha and Pitta. And I just want to share an example of arthritis. Arthritis is oftentimes considered a Vata disorder because there's the dryness in the joints, right? Which leads to pain. So if there is pain in the body, that's another thing. Oh, the Vata must be imbalanced if there is pain. And arthritis is that pain and it's dry. Like I said, insomnia, dry skin, anxiety. And again, from an Ayurvedic perspective, mental health is even way more important than physical health, because you could feel pain, but if your mind tells you your pain is into 100 times than what you're feeling, see how mental health impacts our physical health, right? So you start to feel the intensity a lot more, versus you'd be like, no, on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel 2. Then your mind is telling your body, oh, I'm just 2. And then all of a sudden, the pain in your body feels lesser. So the mind is extremely, extremely important from an Ayurvedic perspective when it comes to your Vata dosha. The mom is a doctor, so she had her reservations around Ayurveda because, they come from a different mindset. And my explanation to her was Ayurveda believes in 2 things. First thing, if we can prevent an illness, only then do we need to cure it. So when someone shows up to me and says, I have a headache, the way I would treat the symptoms would be very different from a way Western doctor would. And I have a lot of respect for Western medicine. In terms of trauma, crisis, Western medicine is the place to go. But if it's 5 sleepless nights, can we touch upon why somebody was sleepless instead of prescribing a medication right away? So with this child, the anxiety was high and the kid had very dry skin. So And it's not just that. I like did the whole counseling for them. We realized the kid is in extreme Vata imbalance. Simple things. A 10-year-old boy, I cannot tell him don't eat chips. Like, you have to work with what you have to work with. But the oil massages helped. And because when you're sleepless, then you're not your full self in school. And this is pre-COVID. Then you're not participating in your activities. And that takes a toll on your self-confidence. They're like, oh, I'm not good enough. No one wants to be with me. A simple thing of oil massages calmed his nerves. He slept well. So he woke up on time. He ate well. He did well at school. So you see how one thing is connected with the other. And this is another client who works in the pharma industry. So it's very high stress. And it's very interesting. It's often people from the Western science who end up working with me, or very high stress levels. And I have a corporate background, so I understand where they come from. I'm not going to ask and make any suggestions that's like, go live in a cave for 2 months. That's where we all would be, less anxious and more grounded if we could meditate on Himalayas, but that's not the real world we live in. And for her, she was also in that age, menopause, and so Vata age is menopause and beyond. So she's getting into Vata age. She's predominantly Vata. She skips meals, which increased her Vata. And so and extreme levels of anxiety and stress. So through diet and lifestyle, nourishment of senses, asking her to get more in touch with what she needed. She's really got into meditation now, like sitting and meditating, but it started with walking meditation. She's now thriving because it's one thing that leads to the other. If you skip your meals, it'll increase Vata. Then you go to bed on an empty stomach, your mind is all wired, it's increasing your Vata. You don't sleep, it increases your Vata. And this lady is in Vata age and it impacts her digestion, high Vata. Right? So these were the two stories that I wanted to share, which I'm very grateful that they chose to work with me, and it's made such a difference to their life.